You know that feeling when something just grabs you? Something really beautiful, maybe profound.
Uh-huh. It just stops you in your tracks.
Exactly. Like maybe it was a melody you heard or a piece of art.
Or even a story, yeah. Something that resonates deep down.
Right. And you feel this immediate pull, this sense of wonder.
But then maybe sometimes a different feeling creeps in,
Mm.
like intimidation.
That's it. You think, wow, I love that, but how would I even begin to understand it?
It feels like this whole other world, maybe.
Yeah.
Bit daunting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into that very feeling.
Right.
We're going to explore what it means to take that first step, which is often actually surprisingly simple, into a really rich and ancient tradition, Indian classical vocal music or ICM.
Right. And the goal isn't instant expertise, is it?
Not at all. Our mission is sort of to shed that pressure, that feeling you need to understand everything right away.
And instead,
Instead, really embrace the sheer joy of the journey itself, no matter how humble the beginning might seem.
I like that. Focusing on the process.
Exactly. And our guide for this exploration comes from a really heartfelt piece.
Okay.
It's called ICMNote #1 Why We Begin, and it's written by Chaitanya Pathak, who founded ICMNote.
Ah, okay. So it's a personal take.
Very personal. It's like an invitation, really. He unpacks his own quite unexpected entry into this soulful world.
Unexpected how?
Well, that's what we'll get into. We're going to extract the key insights from his experience, from his invitation.
And show how discovery often starts,
Yeah.
well, somewhere ordinary.
Precisely. In the most ordinary places, with the simplest actions, we'll look at his unique, almost accidental beginning, explore why you might be drawn to this music, and even offer a really concrete first step you can take, like right now.
Sounds good. Where do we start with this story?
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's dive into Chaitanya Pathak's own journey into ICM.
Right.
What strikes me right away about his story is just how unconventional it was.
Not the usual path.
Definitely not. It didn't start in some grand concert hall or a formal classroom setting.
Which makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About where passion can actually spark.
Yeah, right.
And what's really remarkable, I think, is how universal his experience feels, even though it's rooted in this very specific, rich tradition.
How so? Universal in what way?
Well, his journey seems to reflect this common human thing, right? Being drawn to something beautiful before you can name it.
Ah, right. Before you can break it down or analyze its complexity.
Exactly. It's that almost primal response to beauty, a feeling that just bypasses the logical mind.
Absolutely. And he shares this incredibly vivid starting point. His musical journey began, get this, on the back of a Hero Honda CD100 motorcycle.
Wow, okay. Not what I expected.
Right. Picture it. He's a small kid holding on to his dad, riding these winding roads to visit his grandparents every couple of weeks or for festivals.
Okay.
And his father wasn't formally trained. Nobody in the family was a professional musician. But his dad would just sing while riding, his voice mixing with the engine noise and the wind.
Singing what? Anything specific?
He doesn't specify exactly, maybe just tunes he knew. But Pathak, as a child, he just listened. His words were cluelessly to something beautiful.
Cluelessly. I love that.
Yeah.
Just taking it in.
Yeah. It's such a pure, unadulterated moment of just absorption.
And this really highlights something powerful, doesn't it?
Mhm.
That early exposure, say, to music or any art.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be formal. It doesn't need structure to be profoundly impactful.
Right. It was pure, sincere, received by a child's heart that couldn't yet put words to it.
And if you think bigger picture, it really suggests that the seed of a lifelong passion, it can be planted in the most unassuming everyday moments.
Absolutely. It's not about the fancy setting.
No, it's about the authenticity, the sincerity of the experience itself. That's what sticks.
And here's where it gets even more interesting, kind of reinforcing that accidental theme.
Okay.
During his school years, he wasn't even into music, like at all. His passion was painting. Painting. Okay, another twist.
Yeah. His mom was a teacher, and he'd hang out in her painting classroom while waiting for her, messing around with paints and canvases.
So still no direct line to music?
None. But then, in 7th class, he joins a group singing competition.
Ah, okay. Finally. Was he suddenly inspired musically?
Well, not exactly. His main reason, practice sessions meant he could bunk class without getting into trouble.
Ha! That's brilliant. A classic teenage move.
Isn't it? It just shows you never know where the path to a real passion might actually start. It could be something completely mundane, even a bit cheeky.
You know, that whole bunking class motivation, It's funny, but it illustrates something really important.
What's that?
How often we stumble into our true callings, or maybe just significant interests, through what seems like a casual detour. Maybe even a self-serving one initially.
Yeah, that's true.
It really challenges that idea that passion has to be this big, intentional, aha moment from day one.
Do you think we sometimes undervalue those casual entry points? Like we're looking for something more destined sounding? I think we often do, yeah.
Right.
We want the dramatic origin story. But sometimes it starts with just showing up for the wrong reason initially.
And he explicitly says this, which I find fascinating. I never choose music. I just got involved in the process.
Right. Which might sound a bit passive, maybe?
Yeah.
Does that take away from the effort involved later?
That's a really good question. Does it sound passive? Or maybe. Is it more about receptiveness?
Explain that. Receptive how?
Well, maybe it's not passive in a lazy way, but receptive in an open way, like letting something guide you instead of trying to force it.
Okay, I see that. It highlights a certain humility, maybe, a wisdom in letting something teach you.
Exactly. Think about learning something physical, like riding a bike. You don't really learn it from a book.
No, you get on, you wobble, you fall. Your body sort of figures it out.
Right. Your body learns and teaches you balance through that experience. It's that kind of intuitive, organic thing Pathak seems to be getting at.
Mm-hmm. So that quote of his?
You don't learn the music. You let it teach you. It captures that perfectly.
And 20 years later, he says he's still learning, still being taught by it.
Yeah. It suggests this different way of engaging, maybe less about conquering a subject and more about surrendering to the process, letting it unfold.
A more organic approach, less forced.
So we've walked through Chaitanya's pretty unexpected journey, right? How passions can bloom from these ordinary, almost accidental seeds.
Yeah.
But the real question, of course, is how this applies to you listening right now.
Right. What's the takeaway for someone curious about ICM or maybe any deep tradition?
Well, Pathak addresses that directly. He asks, why might you be here tuning into this?
Okay.
Maybe you felt that same inexplicable pull towards something ancient and soulful, that little hook we talked about.
Like a melody you heard somewhere that just stuck with you.
Exactly, it lingers. Or maybe you went to an Indian classical concert, you felt moved by it, but also, as he says, slightly lost.
Like you were missing some secret code or something. Didn't have the key.
Yeah, that feeling. Or perhaps you're just generally curious, but you haven't known where to start. Felt like you needed a whole instruction manual first.
That's a common barrier, I think, when facing something new and rich like this. The where do I even begin question.
Totally. And his core message for beginners is, well, it's truly liberating. I think it applies way beyond music, too.
What is it?
He says, you don't need to understand everything to feel everything.
Ooh, I like that. Say it again?
You don't need to understand everything to feel everything.
That really takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Reframes the whole thing.
Completely. He presents this music not as some puzzle you have to solve or a test you need to pass, as a conversation. Sometimes quiet, sometimes whispered, he says, sometimes sung with full voice between the human soul and the infinite.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to put it. It shifts it from intellectual challenge to emotional connection.
Exactly. It's an invitation to resonate, not just analyze, to let it speak to your spirit directly.
I appreciate that focus on feeling over analysis. It's an invitation to just experience it. But, for some people, isn't there still a natural desire to understand at least some of the why?
Yeah.
Even while they're feeling it. I know sometimes I want a little context.
That's a very fair point. And it's definitely a valid path. Many people do eventually seek out that intellectual understanding, and it absolutely enriches the experience later on.
Okay.
But Pathak's genius here, I think, is about the initial step, the very beginning.
So don't let the lack of understanding stop you from starting at all.
Precisely. The intellectual part can come later if and when it feels right for you. The first step is just opening up to the sensory hit, the emotional impact.
Like cultivating that basic gut-level connection first.
Yeah, which then becomes the anchor, maybe, for any deeper study you might want to do down the road.
It's like tasting an amazing dish before you ask for the recipe.
That's a great analogy. And following that idea, he gives a very practical first step for this week.
Okay, actionable advice. I like it.
And it's incredibly simple. That's what makes it so powerful, so accessible. He invites you to find any recording of Raga Yaman.
Raga Yaman, okay. He suggests where?
YouTube is perfect, he says. No need for fancy subscriptions or digging through archives. Just search Raga Yaman.
Okay, for anyone hearing that term raga maybe for the first time,
Yeah.
what is it, basically?
Good point. So a raga isn't quite a song like we might think of it in Western terms. It's more like a melodic framework.
A set of notes, characteristic phrases,
Exactly. And it's designed to evoke a specific mood or feeling. It's a guide for improvisation and expression within that mood.
and yaman specifically. What's the feel of that one?
Yaman is often associated with the evening. It tends to have this feeling of calmness, maybe introspection, a kind of gentle majesty.
Okay, so searching raga yaman gives you a specific sonic landscape to step into.
Right. And the simplicity of his instructions for listening is really key here.
What does he suggest doing once you find a recording?
Put away your phone well, except for playing the music. But silence notifications. Close your eyes and just listen for 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes, okay.
And the instruction is very clear. Don't try to analyze or understand.
Oh, back to that core message.
Right. Just let the music wash over you. Notice what you feel. Notice what shifts in your body, your breathing, your heart.
That's basically a mindfulness practice, isn't it? Applied to listening.
Totally. It's about being fully present with the experience, allowing it to affect you without that filter of intellectual judgment or critique.
And just 5 minutes. It seems small, but in our constantly buzzing world, that can feel like a real act of presence.
It really is. Shutting out distractions, just receiving the sound. You're not just listening to music.
You're practicing mindfulness.
Yeah.
Connecting not just to the music, but maybe to your own inner state.
Exactly. It's almost a little rebellion against that constant urge to multitask, to analyze, to do something with the experience.
Here, the only doing is being. Just letting it happen.
Yeah. And this kind of receptive listening, it builds that deeper connection, like you said, not just to the music, but to yourself.
And he describes this simple act, this 5 minutes of listening.
Mm.
How does he frame it?
He calls it your first step into a journey that has no finish line, only deeper and more beautiful discoveries.
No finish line. I like that too. It's not about reaching some end point of mastery.
Exactly. It's much more about the ongoing process, exploration, and crucially, feeling. It's a lifelong engagement, not a course you just complete and get a certificate for.
And that idea, the journey with no finish line, that applies to so much in life, doesn't it?
For sure. Any real passion or craft or even relationships, the richest ones are the ones that keep unfolding.
Mm-hmm. And Pathak hints at this ongoing journey too, right? In future ICM notes.
Yes, he mentions that future notes will explore specific ragas, like ones for calming morning chaos. I could use that.
Ah, me too. What else?
Sharing stories behind legendary artists, offering more simple practices to deepen your listening. And answering common beginner questions. So it's clear this isn't just a one-off piece of advice.
No, it sounds like he's building a community, a shared path.
Exactly. He frames it as being for fellow seekers in a tradition that teaches patience, beauty, and the art of truly listening.
Patience, beauty, and listening. That sums it up nicely. It reinforces that idea of community, of ongoing learning together. It's a lovely vision.
It really is. So just to kind of wrap up where we've been.
Yeah, let's recap.
We took this deep dive into how a really profound journey, like exploring Indian classical vocal music, can start not with some grand plan or formal training,
But with sincere, often unexpected moments, like a kid listening to his dad sing on a motorbike.
exactly, and how, for you listening, the way in doesn't require understanding every single detail first.
It's about simply opening yourself up to the feeling, letting the music wash over you, like with that raga yeoman exercise.
Right. The real beauty of this deep dive, I think, is that focus on the unlikely beginning.
That idea that every profound journey, especially maybe in the arts, often starts somewhere really ordinary.
And then, with a bit of patience, a bit of curiosity, it becomes extraordinary. You don't need the whole map laid out.
You just need to take that first step.
Yeah.
Just begin.
So maybe a final thought for you to consider to take away from this.
Okay.
What drew you to something you love now? Or maybe something you're just curious about exploring?
Was it a specific moment,
Yeah.
a certain artist, or just a feeling you couldn't quite pin down?
Yeah, like Chaitanya Pathak's childhood experience on the bike. Maybe, like him, you didn't consciously choose it.
You just sort of got involved in the process.
Exactly. So what might be waiting out there to teach you if you just opened yourself up to it, even for just 5 minutes?
That's a great question to ponder.
Keep listening deeply. Keep noticing what resonates.
And let your curiosity be endless.